So here's a real quick update. So when the folks from Gen Y graciously sent me their insanely overbuilt rack to be able to store all of the hitches I have, even though that didn't actually do it, I had to use this one as well that they sent. I ran into a bit of a problem. They sent me two of these instead of one of these and one of these. So they sent me one of these now, which is the top cap, which holds this really cool Gen Y logo up top. Love it. And I didn't want to waste this piece I had, so what I did was I dropped it in between and I put two bolts through that hold it in place so I can hold even more hitches. So now I can hold 15 hitches on here. I got some shanks, I got some reducers, I have some adjustable hitches, I got a beautiful Gen Y hitch right here. Check that bad boy out. But I can now hold even more hitches because the flexibility this now gives me in the center. Now I have essentially a self-tapping bolt going through this side and one going through the other side, both front and back. I don't think the sheer weight of this is going to impact it at all. These uprights are 1/4 inch thick steel. That's 3/8 inch thick steel. Everything here is super overbuilt, so I don't think I'm ever going to have to worry about loading this thing up with any type of weight and overloading it at all. But check it out. This is pretty dang cool, right? Look at the stuff from Gen Y. They got all sorts of really cool, innovative things. And now I have the cap on here. I have the ability to store some more hitches here, as well as over there. It's just, man, really helped me clean up the shop. Again, huge shout out to the folks over at Gen Y. And if you haven't seen some of their new products like the snap latch coupler, as well as the gooseneck connector and all the other stuff they have now, go check them out. And this bottom plate also makes a really good display for all of my tongue weight scales and the different evolutionary changes between them. I know most of them look the same aside from this one, but believe it or not, this was the first prototype that we worked with. Then we moved to this one, then we moved to this one. So this is Gen 1. This is the one that you've seen featured on the channel, that you can reverse this piece right here and attach it to the bottom of your tongue jack on a conventional trailer. I don't really recommend it, only because if you use it in that way, you're going to have constant weight on here. And the way this works is you basically take the foot off right here, you mount it to the top here, pin it through, then you take this piece out right here, flip it over, and attach it to the bottom of your tongue jack leg on your trailer. So the foot would now be on the top, and this gives you the ability to check your tongue weight. It's actually really, really brilliant how they did this. The challenge a lot of people had was they said it really needs to be adjustable in height. And that's where the second generation idea came out based off of your suggestions. And now we have the very first prototype of it. The second, I guess I could have put this in order. So if that's the case, then it would have gone like this. And then this one. And then this one. And then finally this one. So I have essentially all four evolutionary generations of this tongue jack scale, and this is the only one that went to market under the BigTruckBigRV brand, so you never saw these. This one actually was a prototype to check the body design, and it only had a 600-pound capacity on it because they just put a basic scale on here, or a basic gauge on here. This one had the new gauge. We were looking at it to see what we thought of it, so that has the BigTruckBigRV gauge. They changed to this one before launch because this is actually a more accurate gauge than this one was. So they went to a different vendor, got this gauge instead because it was giving them more accurate results. So again, over a year and a half in development to get to where we are today with a product that is pretty dang accurate. If you didn't see the video where I actually tested the accuracy of this thing versus an electric scale that, or a crane scale essentially, that uses a sensor in it versus hydraulic fluid, you should go check that out, because this thing was within 6 pounds of that electric digital scale, which also had a 5-pound variable in terms of accuracy. So I'm going to say it was pretty much dead on. But yep, just wanted to give you a quick update, and again, big shout out to the folks over at Gen Y. And eTrailer, fantastic channel partner, super great sponsor, and a reseller of Gen Y products as well. So in front of me, you're looking at my son-in-law's 2017 F150 Lariat. This truck has had a lot of road miles put on it, 150,000 for a 7-year-old pickup truck. In the first 2 years, it got nearly 40,000 miles each year, again, for the first 2 years. This truck has absolutely performed great. He has the 5-liter V8 in here, so he is not using the 3.5-liter EcoBoost, and minimal things go wrong with this engine. I don't think he's had any major issues. That said, today we're going to take on a pretty interesting project. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so inevitably, if you own a pickup truck or any vehicle for an extended period of time, your headlights will start to discolor. They'll start to get foggy, possibly turn yellow, and they did on his truck, and he practiced all the normal techniques of polishing them and buffing them and putting bug spray on them and doing all those things, and some of those work pretty well. The bug spray, believe it or not, seemed to work the best in terms of getting all the discoloration and cloudiness. Well, the discoloration, the cloudiness is still there, but they definitely look a lot nicer ever since he put some bug spray on. That said, today we are going to do a pretty cool upgrade to his truck, and one that was a lot less expensive than we thought it would be. I mean, a lot less expensive. Let me show you what we're doing. So in front of me, you were looking at F-150 headlight replicas. Now, if you were to buy the factory headlights, factory replacement Ford headlights for this truck, considering these are not the super high-end LED headlights, these are your standard halogen headlights, you would pay upwards of about $350 per headlight assembly. If you have the LEDs, you'd pay upwards of $1,000 per headlight assembly. But I was actually able to locate these on eBay for about 90 bucks a pair. Yeah, you heard me right, 90 bucks a pair. Now, there are some differences. There's some subtle differences to the outside and the overall look. Like, for instance, if you look at the reflector right here, you can see that there's 4 main reflector squares right there, and then it has the little reflector shield right there, which is blank. If you look at the OEM headlight, though, it has 7 reflector little squares right here, and the front of the shield actually has a Ford emblem on it. So that's going to be a big difference, but I don't believe it's going to be a huge noticeable difference in terms of light output, hopefully. Aside from that, once we remove these headlights and we have them on the table next to the new ones, we'll be able to give you a better side-by-side evaluation in terms of fitment, what they both look like cosmetically, and if the bulbs swap right over. So let's go ahead and do that. So I did a little research, and it appears that we're going to have to remove a few things first. So we're going to have a lot of screws here. Up top here, we're going to have some 10 millimeters. Then we have this that needs to pop out. Below the light, we may have some as well once we remove this trim piece, and I know we're going to have to remove some screws from the inner fender well right here as well. So once we get this piece of trim off, we can get to all the screws on the inside right here, the screws to the top and the screws on the bottom, and the whole headlight assembly should pop out. So we're going to turn the headlights on real quick just so you can see what they look like right now. Okay, you can definitely see this is your standard halogen bulb. You know, we may go ahead and throw some LED bulbs in there while we have the headlight assembly out, but not terrible. But you can tell that the fogginess to the headlight housing definitely is kind of making the light output look really fogged and hazy. So hopefully this will fix a lot of that. Okay, so we've removed the 2 7mm screws from the back here. We've removed the grommet from up here, but because this is the Lariat package, and some other trims will have this as well, including sport trims, it has this fender flare, and this needs to be popped back. Now, to remove this, you simply pop this off. You have 2 grommets that will retain it in place back behind here. You pop those off with your trim removal tool. Then once you have that done, you should be able to remove this entire piece of trim right here. Okay, so we've removed this piece of trim. Didn't take much effort at all. We started up top, just pulled it back like this all the way around, and this piece we just popped out. Plenty of clearance behind this brush guard to do it. Now we just have to remove, I believe it's going to be mainly 10mm bolts all the way around. Okay, so though it didn't take very long, it was kind of a pain in the butt. The brush guard provided a little bit of an obstruction, but not too difficult. The biggest challenge is this piece of trim right here, and it doesn't really make sense to remove the whole thing, but you got to pull it back out of the way so you can actually get the headlight tilted out, leaning this way so you can remove it through here. It appears as if we are in good shape now, so we should be able to install the new one. Before we do that, I guess we can do a bit of a side-by-side comparison here. All right, so I can definitely tell you that the new ones look new. They look really nice. If you look at the contours, the lines, everything looks like it should just plug right in and play. Let's get all the light bulbs moved out of here into the new assembly. But from a weight perspective, they feel about the same. They're roughly the same weight, so hopefully that means the quality's there, but we'll find out. Okay, so we moved the bulbs over. Bulb fitment was perfect, didn't have any issues there at all. We did not put the factory low beam halogen bulb back in. We swapped it out with some LED bulbs, so hopefully the cutoff line still looks really good. We'll definitely test that to make sure that it's not producing an overwhelming amount of glare. These are the LED bulbs we put in. Have little fans on the back of them. They were reviewed very, very well, and a lot of folks said that they did not produce a lot of glare above the cutoff line. So let's go ahead and get these installed, or at least this one installed back in, and we'll test it. Okay, whenever you're ready. Looks like the turn signal's working fine. There's the headlight. Turn on your high beam. There you go. There we go. Man, that looks nice compared to that. All right. Okay, so we are in the process of leveling the headlights. Before I do that, I want you to see what they look like. I'm gonna swing around this way. Check that out. That is really, really good looking. I mean, honestly, for 90 bucks, it's hard to beat it. And the cutoff line is actually pretty nice. I need to adjust the headlights down, but it's right there. You're gonna have that boulder spot in the center, as with most headlights. Once I move that over, you'll see the other cutoff line, but we just need to adjust them down quite a bit because he doesn't want to blind people like that. And then we will be all good to go. Pretty straightforward project. I mean, the thing that sucks about almost all modern cars these days is the fact that they make it so you have to take things off to get to your headlights, which is really dumb. I liked them in the past when you could just reach behind the headlight, pull out your 9006 model headlight bulb and swap it out, and you'd be done. But the process now makes it so you pretty much have to remove the entire headlight assembly out of many cars just to get to the bulbs, and that's just ridiculous to me. We had to do it anyways with this truck to be able to do this headlight swap, but I can tell you it looks so much nicer. Once we get these leveled out, we'll pull it out in the sun so you can see what they look like. Okay, gotta tell you, that is a really, really pretty truck for having 150,000+ miles on it. Check that out. Wow, that looks really good. And here's what it looks like with the headlights off. That looks fantastic. For 90 bucks, they fit really, really well. I've bought cheap headlights before and they don't fit good at all, but for 90 bucks, these fit really well. They look really nice. We got the ones with the nice black trim ring going around it, but that absolutely changes the overall look of the truck. I'm sure he is happy. You know, I'll throw a link to where I got these on eBay in the description of this video if this is something you're interested in. If I can find them on Amazon, I'll probably post those because as a Prime product, it's easier to return. I think most people know that. But they look really good. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. I'd love to know your thoughts. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.